What's up everyone, CR2 here. Hope you're doing well wherever and whenever you're watching from. And today we have got the qualified practice guide for NASCAR 1987s. And week one we are going to be at Auto Club. Perhaps my favorite oval, fully biased. I live pretty damn close to this place. Again, shame that it's gone from the real world, but at least we've got it on iRacing. So anyway, week one for 87s. And really quickly we're going to go over the weather. Now just a quick disclaimer, I have no idea for sure what the weather or track conditions for week one are going to be. I'm pretty much just running this guide off of what the schedule PDF says. It says 80 degrees air temp. We've got 82 right now. Good luck trying to get it to match. And for all I know, you could be dealing with completely clear skies like we will shortly, partly cloudy skies like right now, or mostly cloudy skies for all I know. And that level of cloud cover or no cloud cover has a huge effect on track temperature. So of course, keep an eye on all of this. Some wind going across the front stretch, that'll give you a little bit of a boost at some points. And for the track right now, we're dealing with 121 degrees. If it's mostly cloudy, you might be in low 100s, partly cloudy, between 110 and 120. Clear skies, I've seen as hot as 125. So just kind of be ready for anything up until we get a actual schedule to pull test sessions from. Gonna go on to our settings. Let me just reload the actual fixed setup. This way, no funny stuff that I've tried pulling off. 12 to 1, I like +6. If we're dealing with a hot track, I honestly recommend you just go for 58%. You want to keep your right rear happy as much as possible. And before we get started, I do want to thank, I believe his name on iRacing is Jonathan Millis. Otherwise, his YouTube channel is John M Racing. I'll link him on down in the comments. He helped me a lot in putting together some practice runs of his own, as well as qualifying runs. He's really, really good at qualifying. In matching conditions, he was better than me by easily a tenth. It took so much for me to match his time. So again, a big thanks to Jonathan. And let's get on out there for the mock qualifying lap. See 122 now. Now for qualifying, you can actually go a little bit lower on that brake bias, but 54% has been about the safest for me, or the lowest I can go without breaking the rears loose. Set that reset up in case I screw it up. I'm gonna ride the high line, just of course make sure you don't get that wall. Be careful of the car breaking loose on throttle. At the line. Brake at the 2 marker, quite heavy in the braking. See how hard I'm trying to send this thing. Get a strong run off of turn 2 on the high line. 3 and 4 is a little bit tough. I've been prone to overdriving it. Gonna trail brake. Get to the white line. Again, be careful of loose on throttle. And once you're off turn 4, make your run to the finish line as short as you can. That's good for 43.72. Now again, this is with a pretty hot track. Actual conditions for official races. Might match, could be way cooler, could be hotter for all we know. So just again, no idea what we may actually be dealing with. We're going to go on to the chase camera really quickly. Fix my replay audio really quick. Wrong lap. Okay. See, 181 at the line. If you're faster than this, you're off to a great start for your lap. See, I lift and brake at the 2 marker. Car's even bottoming out on this set. That's interesting. But once you're at about the Auto Club Speedway sign in the middle of 1 and 2, good on throttle marker. If you're tracking down as you're on throttle, just stick with it, because if you're really just, there's times where if you're really trying to stay up close to that wall, you might just be scrubbing speed by scrubbing your front tires. Lift and brake as soon as the safer barrier starts, or otherwise this white line on the bottom of the safer barrier. Trail brake. Get on down to the white line. Be careful of loose on throttle, so you're going to have to feather it a little bit. You try to just floor it, you're going to spin the rears, and your qualifying lap is cooked. There you go, 43.72. The low line might be faster, but just consistently the high line's been faster. Let me rephrase. With a cooler track and a cleaner track, less rubber buildup, I mean, because we are on 85%. I know I usually test with 45, but for week 1 I decided to go with 85% just simply because just in the case we're in that scenario where the high line is faster thanks to rubber builds up in later in the race, there's going to be rubber buildup anyway. So this time around we're just playing with something different. 123 degrees now on the track temperature. We're going to jump on out for the long run practice. And for this, I highly advise you to just jump on up to 58%. So, in our earlier practice throughout the week, Jonathan and I kind of conventionally charge into the corner a little bit, use some braking, but the car would eventually start breaking loose under braking. So I decided to do something different, and that was just lift off, little to no brake, and it's pretty close times, but the real benefit to that is you're not making the rear tires angry, and you need the rear tires here at Auto Club, because then if your rear tires are angry, you're gonna have no launch off out of the corners. See, just a little bit of brake. Get on down low. Because if you're braking into the corner, you're forcing weight transfer as you're loading the right front, and therefore you're kicking out the rear a little bit. And what does that do? That heats up the rear. And later on in the run, 20 or 25 laps in, that right rear is going to get really angry with just wear, tire heat. You're going to have no launch out of the corner. But with just a full lift off, you're keeping the car balanced. You're not forcing weight transfer. There's this line that I thought of, and balance increases traction. You see I even broke loose there a little bit. And if you know where that line is from, massive props to you. Actually, that's lifting a little bit too early for opening laps of this run. But nonetheless, throttle care is still very, very much required. You can't just floor it like as if we were at Texas a couple weeks ago with a pretty tight setup and a fairly cool track as well. So through my previous guides at Auto Club, you'll have seen I like to hang around just above the top seam, because hugging that white line just tends to make the car too loose, in my opinion. See, I'm doing a full lift, just coast on into the corner. And then once you're kind of matching your turn arc to that seam, it's a good back on throttle. You see I had to counter steer a little bit. You still got to be careful. A little bit of brake, just a little bit. I very much advise get your braking done before you get the car loaded into the banking. You double check the brake bias, 58%. Now early on into the race, you might practice a little bit with some braking, honestly, because this early lift technique, you see I'm braking, excuse me, a little bit of a hiccup, but look at the time I'm losing in corner center because the car's out of balance. I've got too much weight on the right front, no weight on the right rear to keep it dug into the track, so the rears are kicking out loose just a bit. Yeah, just a little bit loose there. But you go to just full lift, no brake instead. You're going to lose like a tenth into the corner, but you're very, very likely going to pick it back up in corner center. And in the process, you don't piss off the right rear, which is very, very important here at Auto Club. Still kicking loose right now. You got to be very, very careful. So you'll notice my lap times are pretty freaking inconsistent right now. There's also tire fall off early on in the run, but with the draft at places like Auto Club in Michigan, that does allow you the opportunity to do some tire saving. You know, kind of back off a little bit earlier, get on throttle a little bit later than everybody else, and then just use the draft to pull you back towards the pack. Whereas if you're trying to be up in the dogfight, fight for the lead, you're just kind of naturally racing harder. Really feathering the throttle here. Do not floor it. Don't kind of like stab the throttle. Very, very likely that you'll just kick the rears loose, upset the whole car, and you don't want a hot right rear here at all. Yeah, still even loose on throttle right here. I'm gonna try a little bit of a higher line in 3 and 4 because I am struggling a little bit. Just notice this high entry and then go for a cut down on exit that I'm taking, and that's because since this car is loose on throttle, you want straight as possible exits while you're on the throttle, because if you're on throttle while you're still trying to force the car to make that exit, you're just going to spin the rears. A bit of a trying to take advantage of a straighter exit off of turn 4. Turn 4 is often the danger spot here at Auto Club, and similar with 2008 Michigan as well. looks like about 55%, 60% throttle, and not really going towards full throttle until I'm straight on the steering wheel. Low initial throttle, slowly pick it up as he gets to turn exit. I'm going to pause here really quickly and point out my lift-off markers. At the line. Okay, so right here it's kind of like two dark blocks followed by a single dark block, maybe a car length later. You want to lift off. Maybe a car length or two before, certainly no later than this, because you lift right here, you might need a little bit of brake to be able to make the corner entry. If you're taking the high line, and we'll go over the high line shortly, you probably want to lift off a little bit later, maybe this block here. It is a little bit different, but definitely go off of these blocks here and fine tune. Just a bit of brake. Do you hear that tire noise? That is the rears. And then for turn 3, right here, this little lighter patch of blue in the wall, which kind of looks like a crossover gate. Definitely right here later in the run. Early run, you can maybe go about car length later, and if you're at a colder track, probably wait until you're nearly passing the television board. And also, we might be able to get away with a little bit of brake, but you definitely don't want to be braking while your car is loaded in the banking. I'm going to test it a little bit here. Bit of brake, but you see I'm completely off the brake before we're loading the car into the banking. And then just be careful if you're on throttle point in the middle of 3 and 4. If you're on throttle too early, you're gonna get crazy. You're likely gonna get crazy tight and push up towards the wall. Or if you're on throttle but throwing a bunch more left turn into the car, forcing it to make that exit, more than likely you're just going to spin out. Definitely be careful. And as you see, my lap times are still wildly inconsistent. I'm just taking what the car is giving me, lap by lap. Don't chase lap times. As I've said before with Auto Club in Michigan, just hang out at the tail end of the lead pack, run the line you want, run the pace you want, the brake points, the on throttle points, all of that. And then as laps check off, just pick off spots, because people racing up front, they are likely just going to warm up their tires more. You come up through, very likely you'll just cruise past them, and they've got little to no tire life to really give you a competition. And if they try to fight you, they're just going to heat up their tires more. It's very much a snowball effect. Once you have too much heat in the cars, or too much heat in the tires with 87s, it's very hard to get heat out of the tires. Tiny bit my braking is done before I start my turn in. Tracking out towards the wall, but that's not a big deal. Just slightly too hard, slightly too fast into the corner. See, we're just barely kicking the rear loose, and that's because I've got a little bit more turn in while I'm on throttle, trying to make that exit without sacrificing drive off. Now we're going to try the high line here. Yep. Please excuse that. I'm not terribly well practiced with the high line on race pace yet. And you see even we're still gaining time back up on the low line. Higher line on 3 and 4 honestly feels a little bit better, just above that second seam. 46.4. A little bit of brake. Oh boy. And also, I'm nearly forgetting to mention, heck, I don't even remember if I mentioned it, but the lift off, no brake does mean you have to lift off earlier, and this honestly does leave you exposed to cars behind you, whether running into you, just being able to simply dive bomb in on you and take the spot away. It's certainly going to be a little bit of test of patience and discipline. But I'm very confident beyond 20-25 laps into the run, it'll pay off for you, because anybody who is just kind of sending it into the corner, which I was trying at first in some attempt to put the weight on the right front, or rather to work the right front more than the right rear, it just doesn't work, because eventually that weight shift and heat just works its way back to the right rear anyway. You have to kind of prevent that heat from going there anyway as much as you can. See, crazy high entry, make my way down. Gotta counter steer it a little bit, and you see it can still be a little bit of a handful. And remember, as I said, my lap times are wildly inconsistent, and that's just taking what the car gives me every lap, what I'm getting out of the car every lap. I'm not chasing lap time. And that's just simply to make sure you've still got some tire life when it matters most. Like, this will probably be clock in at a 46.5. I could really push it and maybe eke out a 46.2. We're gonna see if we can do that right now, actually, coming up next lap. Yeah, car feels really good just above the second seam. That's a 40. 46.61. We are going to absolutely send it this time here. See, I'm still kind of fighting some pushiness in the center. And then if you're countering that with some more left turn in the steering wheel, that's eventually just going to kick the rears loose, and that's where that downside comes in. But if you really got to force the issue to make a pass, perhaps defend, this is why you want it. This way, when you really need it, you can still pull off a 46.3, 46.2, see a 46.3 right there. Because if week one is as hot as, say, old Atlanta was a few weeks ago last season, it is very much going to be just run a safe pace to avoid pissing off the right rear, because with that week, if you pissed off the right rear once, you weren't coming back from it. That was just all about preventing right rear heat as much as you possibly could. Pushing up towards the wall a little bit, that's alright though. And I got on throttle too early. Let's see, we are about 25 laps into this thing, I believe. Coming to complete lap 25 actually. And you can see we can still go probably 30 more laps. You can go quite some time. But really, I wouldn't pit any later than lap 50 if your race is going full green. Heck, maybe even pitting as late as lap 55 could turn out in your favor. See, much better run there. Didn't hit the wall like a dumbass. And so 12 gallons, 30 laps estimated, so we could probably say each gallon gets you maybe 3 laps just to really be safe. And if you're going to go for a right side tire pit stop on the green flag, you may want minimal fuel plus maybe like 1 lap, really just to be safe and make sure that you can make it without any need to save fuel. See, pretty good run there on the lower lines, losing a little bit of time to the high line, but it's basically even once both respective lines are getting into turn 3. See, I'm waiting to get back on throttle until I know for sure I'm turning the car down the banking. Because once you're on throttle, you want to minimize steering wheel as much as you can. Alright, so back on the fuel discussion. You know, we will come back to that. I'm going to check out and clock some laps. And you guys will join me back here shortly. Alright everyone, so we are back. I believe we're coming to take about lap 46-ish of this run, lap 47. We're just a couple laps away from doing our practice green flag pit stop at what would be like lap 50 in an actual race. So again, no need to wait this long. I'm just kind of playing this strategy as if 50 is about the latest I would pit if the race was still going green. So what I've found so far is it will get looser. I'm certainly sure the track has gotten hotter because it is a little bit of a struggle to run anything faster than like a 47.0. Higher line in 3 and 4 certainly feels better above the second seam. And this is just because it's a little bit of a straighter track where there's not as much rubber buildup and it's not as slick. up higher in 3 and 4 versus down low. For 1 and 2, pretty much almost all lines are still at play. You can certainly rip the wall if you want, you can rip a little bit lower, you can go for the low line if you want. It's just pretty much whatever feels most comfy to you. The bottom line still is don't slide the right rear, which I made a mistake of doing already a couple times. I just really would like to see what the track temperature is right now. So definitely for sure, you want to be very ginger on that throttle. And let's make sure right sides are selected. Let's just say we've got 15 laps to go in the race, 3 laps per gallon. It's really just a safe estimate. So that means we need 5 gallons minimum leaving pit road. Now again, this does change depending when you pit later than 50. You probably need about only a gallon less. 5 laps earlier, probably throw in 2 gallons more, so 4 gallons probably gets me there. I did not set myself up for the green flag pit entry, so we're gonna run 1 more lap. You see I'm counter steering a little bit, and I'm honestly just fighting through it at this point. Don't do that. Actually, we're gonna do 1 all-out lap just to really see what the car still has. We're gonna be hard on the brakes. Just be careful of tracking up. See, when you really gotta force the issue, the car is still quite fast. Just don't force the issue too much. Ginger on throttle. Still a little bit of counter steer. You see, we are 4/10ths faster. We could push a 46.6 if we really had to. A little bit too early on throttle. Car was not turning back down the banking yet. Alright, so get onto the low line. Definitely be careful down here. It feels slicker to me. And this grass on the left, once that ends, once you pass that corner, slow yourself down for pit road. Could have been a little bit more aggressive there, but just that's not a good idea to try in a race.
Pit box in 10, 5.
Okay, there we go.
3, 2,
and
1.
This is the number that I care
Right
to see.
here.
Tire heat and wear. Oh yeah. See, not very bad on the right rear temperature, but just right rear wear. Outright right rear wear.
All clear, punch it.
Definitely be careful on your pit out. Car will be loose. Given this, it might be better. This is just in my opinion. It may be better to pit about lap 45 instead of waiting till 50. And I think that's just simply because by that point you're limited by pure tire wear rather than tire heat. Again, my opinion. Car's not crazy loose, and this is just because we have minimal fuel needed to make it to lap 65. And kind of all-out pace for pitting 46.6. Bottle care is still absolutely necessary. See, look at that. We're 1.4 seconds faster. 45.2. Now let's just try no brakes, see how it feels. A little bit slidey. Oh yeah, oh yeah. A little bit better this time around. It's not what you want to do. Alrighty, well, we will call it there. Just, it is very late for me right now. I really hope to see the track something at like 130, because just to make more sense as the lap times I'm running, late run. 130, there you go. So had this been about 125 in the middle laps that you saw me running, it would have absolutely would have made sense to see me consistently running 46.6, 46.7. So again, my temperatures on track and weather conditions could absolutely be wrong come week one, because air temp is 84. That's an absolute lie. Next Saturday in California, or Fontana specifically, it's going to be like 90 degrees, if even a little bit warmer. This is an absolute lie. And track, for all we know, could be this hot. You could be dealing with mostly cloudy. Track will easily be 10 to 15 degrees cooler, partly cloudy, probably hovering between 120 and 125. Or it's full cloudy and the track may only be like 90 some degrees, and that's a drastic difference in lap times and car handling. So for what this guide is worth, I really hope this is helpful for everyone. Bottom line, don't slide the rears. Prevent sliding the rears as much as possible. You will make the tires angry. You will not have a good time. Also, if you get an early yellow, like lap 5, lap 10, don't do fuel only. If you come down for fuel, I honestly recommend you just take the second set of tires or a new set of tires. Full fuel on old tires is not a good time. I know this from a race at Auto Club or a week at Auto Club from, heck, maybe even almost 2 years ago, right around the time I started the channel or started making guides. So beware of that. If you're taking fuel, just take the tires too. You will not have a good time. And utilize the draft, hang out at the end of the tail end of a leading pack, and just run your line, run your pace, pick off people as they burn away their right rear or somehow burn away their right front. And of course, good luck next week, guys. Feel free to ask me anything down in the comments. Again, big thanks to Jonathan Millis of John M Racing. I'll link his channel down in the comments. Big shout out to him. He was a big help in letting me know what he found in his practice runs, and he's a very good qualifying guy. He's pretty much able to find that extra 1,000th possible for every oval car. So hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time around, and good luck.